Okay, there we go. Woo! First YouTube live stream. Going to be assembling the lovely PIP Boy kit here in front of me. Thank you all for joining me, whoever does along the way, or whoever watches this after the fact. Technical difficulties, as always, get in the way of these things. So, I'm just going to quickly unbox this here, and we've got instructions. And let's just get the cardboard out of the way. If you haven't seen this before, it's a lovely kit that comes complete in this lovely little suitcase. And I'm just going to flip. Oh. There we go. So here is the device complete with screwdrivers, an instruction guide which we will follow, and we'll see how far we get to. Let's just get this camera adjusted here. There we go. Awesome. Now I want to get in here, and there we go. I can monitor the chat from on my phone, since I'm not positive it's going to show up otherwise. I'm not sure how well the chat function streams to YouTube or from YouTube. Works great with Twitch, of course. So, there we go. Oh, let's just minimize that. I don't need the sound from the phone coming in to the rest of this either. Alright. So I plan for this to be, I don't know, 2 hours tonight working on this and hopefully get it all done. Because if it does get done, then my thought is I've got a sweet Lego kit coming next week that I may stream. There we go. There we go. So we got a wrench and some screwdrivers, which I think are pretty good. And the instructions. Let's go through the instruction manual first and see. Oh, I don't want to lose. Okay, so it's got a water transfer for the screen. I'm probably not going to worry about that at this point. I can always disassemble it and put it back together. One of my hopes through doing this is to learn just how possible it might be to... Oh, wow. Here is the instruction manual in all of its glory. It's actually relatively complicated, the various steps that you go through. 126 steps once you include clamping it onto your arm. So let's put it together, and I don't think there'll be a problem taking it back apart. Some clips and tabs in there, but I'm pretty sure like these two tabs here and there shouldn't be difficult to disassemble later. So one of the things that I'm hoping to do down the road is get another one of these, or maybe just modify this one. Let's just take this out. And there's another layer. Got my padded cuff. Just kind of push that in there. Padded cuff. We've got some other lovely pieces if you've... And then, oh, more bits in here. So, components for training purposes only. This is just awesome because they really went all out to just make this feel like it belongs. I mean, it's one of the lovely things about Fallout is it has this very specific feel to it, and they've clearly gone out of their way. They've got this rubber band holding on to whatever this is. I'm just, really what I should do is I should knoll this whole thing out and get all the pieces. But if for some reason I don't get this done today, this space returns to my home office at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So let's hope I get it all done. Now it's unfortunate these pieces aren't labeled, but what we do have is we see this is one of the first pieces I'm going to need, along with a backing plate, it looks like. So let's just kind of pull all the pieces out. Padded cuff I don't need right now. Oh, metal rod. Oh, I didn't necessarily want to tear that. Put that off to the side. Nice big lever. Padded cuff. Oh, another metal rod. Another package. This is very ingenious packaging. There we go. Beginning of my PIP Boy. Get it in frame there. Awesome. So let's just pull all of the pieces out and try to get a sense of where everything is. Get this lovely but obtrusive box out of the way. More bits inside bits inside bits. All right. Cool. I believe that empties that box. Oh. One tiny little nut. Put that aside. Let's see. Okay, here we go. There's the piece from step one. So this must be... I'm not sure exactly what that is. Now I know that this particular kit does have some additional pieces. Just gonna move that light a little bit. Available, some aftermarket add-ons like a radio and this just needs to come out of here. There we go. Get that box off. And then try to... Nope, they're just stuck into that plastic. So everything should just more or less pop out of there. So yes, as I was saying, I'd like to actually pull this whole piece apart at some point and put a Raspberry Pi in there. Is something I've got in the back of my head. Possibly just put some LEDs in it. I don't know. I kind of want to go all the way. What I may wind up doing is finding myself another one, because I do know that there are still some of these kits kicking around at EB Games at different places, and they go on sale. They've actually screwed these pieces in. It's just easier to pull the screw out. So grab another one, weather it, do some proper, make it look aged, like it belongs in the Fallout universe. This light is probably a bit harsh for that. And, yeah. like it belongs in there, and make it somewhat functional. I don't know how functional I'd go. I mean, there's lots of Pip Boy Pi kits or plans that people have done. I think that is everything. All right. So now with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at what we're supposed to do here. All right, so the first thing is we've got this piece, and there should be a matching back piece, which I assume is this. So yeah, so what I need to do is these two pieces are going to go there. Like so. And then this will go there. Let's just get that on screen there. Still figuring out exactly where to place things. I can always adjust the camera a little bit. Move it back a touch. There we go. So, got the cassette, and now there's a tape guard around here. Now this is where if I'd have knolled everything nicely first, I would not be looking for it. However, I suspect it is in one of these boxes. Let's grab a knife. Always have a knife nearby. Rule number 9 from Leroy Jethro Gibbs. Oh, and there's some tiny little springs. And this is not the tape guard. Oh, this is just beautiful. I mean, I've assembled numerous Games Workshop models and some kits from other companies, but this level of detail is just not something that we see. Oh, and what have we here? Oh, this is lovely. Pip Boy 2000 Mark 6. Lovely little kit. So, let's get this going. So many pieces. Super dangerous. All right, so I'm looking for the tape guard. It's going to go along there. That's not it. There we go. Of course, straight away we drop a piece. There we go. Yay for a tan colored carpet. All right, so this piece is going to go along there, and this all is going to get held in place by the 2 screws that I have woefully buried in everything else. So there we go. The first bit of assembly for the Pip Boy. I feel like that's too long of a screw. And this is why you should be more careful than I am when you're doing kits like this. No, that's definitely it. By the time the smoke clears, and all of them are roughly the same. It is a rather tight fit. And it's not an easy to grab screwdriver. I have a precision driver kit here that I think will make things a little bit easier. There we go. Could probably even go the next size up. I am rather surprised about the... And that's going right through. So that is clearly not the right screw. But those screws were in there. Nope, there is other screws clearly that it wants. So those screws are for something else. So right, first screw I put in is the wrong one. Should have been looking at what it was indicating, because it's clearly indicating a Phillips screw. Would suck way less than a flathead. There we go. So I'll have to repair the tape here afterwards, which is fine. Alright, so let's find the appropriate There we go. Much easier. Makes much more sense. All right. So, for those of you who are watching me, thanks for coming and joining. Feel free to throw a question up in chat or just let me know who's hanging out. And if you're watching this after the fact, love to see any comments you've got. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is that. So there we go. The first step is done. 7 would be to remove all of these pieces, disassemble everything, and then put on the water transfer. But I'm not going to do that just yet. And as I said, the reason for that is I still have some thoughts of putting a Raspberry Pi in here, or it seems like my gain is up really high. Oops. How's that? That's better. Let's turn it up a little bit more. There we go. Oh, no, I'm peaking now. How's that? Okay. It's a little bit different getting set up for YouTube than it is for Twitch. So I was a little flustered by some of the technology this evening. All right, so got this set up, and the next step doesn't involve this at all. It wants me to grab this piece, so we're right here, and there is, that's one piece. So this is part of what it wants me to grab, and this, okay, so here we go. These two pieces are going to connect on that. There we go. That piece goes down there. This piece goes up there. There's one nest in the other. No, that does not seem right. There. That goes in there. Nope. One of these pieces is not the one I'm looking for, I think. All right. Let's just see. I don't think this is it either. Cut off. Cuff brace cover. Radio housing. As I was saying, there is a radio transmitter Bluetooth speaker doodad you can get that actually replaces this whole unit now. Okay, so this goes... Okay, so I think that's the correct thing. So let's grab, again, it appears to be these same screws. I really wish that they'd label them. Suppose they just assume that you know which screw you're supposed to use. No, clearly that's not working. Those are all flatted. So they've distinguished them by this one's got to go on top. It's the only thing that makes sense. But this is not. I feel like there's two of these, and there's got to be a different bottom piece. There we go. That's the thing. All right. What they really needed to do was provide you with labels on the pieces, or alternatively, a map that said this piece was here. Not that it would have mattered because I took everything out of the box already. So that's attached, and we get another one of those little guys and get that attached in there. So yeah. So you may be wondering, Jason, why did you decide to live stream? Well, there's lots of reasons. One, as much as the YouTube channel and Twitch channel are both related, part of the all about the geek. At the same time, I feel like they will have slightly different but overlapping followings. Some people that like the YouTube channel are also going to say, hey, you know what? I dig watching people play World of Tanks or whatever video game I'm playing. And there's also going to be a group of people who watch me doing the playing video games, or say, hey, I really kind of dig what you've got going on the YouTube channel. So because the YouTube channel is more focused on hobbying, all of the hobbying, I felt this was the right place to do my hobby related stuff. So it's a little bit different. Keep the two separate for now, at any rate, as an experiment. But also, I know I have friends who want to watch me do things and don't have Twitch accounts and don't want to log into Twitch or whatever. So there is that as well. Okay, so now 17, 18, 15, 16, 17. That's this assembly. And now it wants this piece. And this piece going to get connected by this. And we have some decals. The date decal, I'm not sure where that was supposed to go. I've got them here. But we have some hazard stripes. That look like they go down there. All right. So I want to grab a pair of tweezers. Just a second. So yeah, I'm in the midst of a project reorganizing the drawer that's just right here, just kind of where my hand is there. And that's a video in progress, because everything is a video I do now. Everything I do in here is a video idea. Because I think it's interesting. And doesn't necessarily mean everyone thinks it's interesting. And it definitely doesn't mean that you find it interesting. Let's just get this up here. Not quite. So, but yeah, reorganizing my drawers using foam core. Video in progress. Hope to get it finished this weekend, and it'll go up next week. If you've been following the channel from the beginning, you know that my goal is more or less to get a video up once a week. That's kind of my goal. And streaming will help supplement that. And the reason for that is, while my editing is, we'll call it sufficient, to produce videos, there's definitely things that I don't know. And I want to know more, as is my general desire. Okay, I see. The date goes there. So, let's grab tweezers. So I'm spending some time learning DaVinci Resolve, which is the piece of software that I have chosen to make my videos with, for a number of reasons. First off, it's free. So unlike Adobe Premiere, which is going to cost you considerable sums of money to use on a month-to-month basis, 2077. October 23rd, 2077. I would be 99 years old. At any rate. And it does not behave as well as it should for the price, to be completely honest. It does not play as well with using hardware encoding, although apparently I watched a review recently that says, and by recently I mean last night, that says they seem to have corrected some of that. At any rate, let's just see if we can't bring this a little bit further down. There we go. So hopefully it doesn't just fall out there. But the idea being that now that I've got this other... Anyway, DaVinci Resolve, chosen platform. And there's a lot of people who've in the creative space, from what I've learned, and it's actually how I learned about Resolve, was while I was looking at trying to find ways to use Premiere better, and came across more than one YouTube creator who had just decided to off and leave it. And so they are now using, I love that, spring activated button built in. Looks great. And actually even the decals look great. They've got some great shading and stuff on them. So I think they look awesome. Anyway, number of people decided to move off of Resolve, or off of Adobe, to look at DaVinci Resolve for all of their own reasons. And I decided to likewise give it a shot because it was free, and nothing that was a limitation for me. So I'm not recording in 4K. I mean, with my GoPro, which I've got shooting the desk above me here, I absolutely could be shooting in 4K. There isn't a different... it seems like it's a washer nut. Is there no... so I could shoot in 4K. I just don't see the value in it for me right now. Yeah, there we go. So the value proposition isn't there. And my main camera, which is the Canon, which is what you're seeing me on, will not do that. But it will shoot in 1080 at 60 frames a second. Which, there we go. Let's just... Let's back that off. Which is plenty for YouTube. Does the nut go inside? Nut goes in here. And in fact, gives me lots of... And I could always move to 4K down the road if I felt that there was value, if it brought value to the channel. And at that point, really, it's going to be because I have enough of an audience who's saying, we'd really like to see your stuff in 4K. I've got 4K monitors. And let's face it, I've got 31 people following me on YouTube. So it's not really critical yet. And maybe it will become at some point, but not today. And some of you may also be like, Jason, I've known you for years. Why are you on YouTube? What made you decide to do this? And I'll tell you the same thing I told my boss. I have no intention of leaving my job and becoming a full-time YouTube creator. This all came about, I think that's the piece there, because Leanne, my lovely Leanne, asked me about this time last year. She's like, Jason, if we won the lottery, what would you do? And I said, I would start a YouTube channel. And she looks at me and says, why do you need to win the lottery to do that? You have a great camera and enough knowledge to kind of get started on something. You don't need a lot. You've probably got everything you need. And I kind of took a step back and said, you know, you're right. What even is that piece? So that's what got me started on thinking about it. Because I do things slowly and methodically sometimes. And sometimes I rush in. But in this particular case, I took my time and decided to figure out what do I want my YouTube channel to be? What don't I want it? What do I want it not to be as much as anything else? Because that was an important fact for me. I did not want my channel to just become, it's like, what is this? It's like Vault-Tec sugar. No, it's just, oh, this is brilliant. This is what I was looking for earlier. This is a toothpick for flattening out the decals. Really is lovely to have that. Anyway, the long story getting longer by the moment. These the pieces. There are two of them. These could well be the pieces. So what does it do? No. All right, stream. I'm looking for pieces 23 and 22. Those two bits. Cable locating eyes. It doesn't look like it. Or does it? This is, of course, the challenge with dumping it all out like I did. But anyway, starting the YouTube channel, it's been a lot of fun, but realize that I do not know nearly enough for what I want to do. So I have obtained through the interwebs a course on DaVinci Resolve. It's like 20, 25 hours. Plus, I've also discovered that Blackmagic, who makes DaVinci Resolve, has an amazingly good documentation just available online for free. Adobe Take Note. Because you guys could do better with that sort of thing. Maybe they are in this bit. In any case, I am working my way through that material right now. And even in the first 3 hours, learned things that will make my editing that much faster. And my hope is that as I become faster and better at editing, I can improve the quality of my videos, add titles better, that sort of thing. And part of it's just because I like to, if I'm going to do a thing, I like to become relatively proficient in it. Is this the piece? It does not. It fits the, oh yeah, there we go. I don't feel that that's actually the piece I'm looking for. So they're going to make other green. Oh no. Those are the pieces I'm looking for. They go in this way. Don't know why they aren't just in there. I suppose. Or are they supposed to go in this way? So they match the other ones. I'm inclined to think that they're supposed to match the other ones. And yet, that does not seem to be how they want to sit in there. Alright, I'm going to go with that. Okay, and so that gets another one of these little screws in the side. I really wish this screwdriver was magnetic. I've become accustomed to magnetic tip screwdrivers for fine work I do on computers, because there's all these little screws, and the reality is that there's very little you're going to potentially damage by using a magnetic screwdriver with or near computer components. They're just not that sensitive anymore. And realistically, I mean, by the time you're talking solid state hard drives, it doesn't matter a tick at all for that anyway. Alright, so we've got that in. We've got those two pieces. That's bolted together. The next step is the top strap, which appears to be this. And okay, put this aside for a moment. I need the top strap, which is this. Let's clear some of the space here, because this is going to super help my organization. So I've got this. And then I need my little doodad. Doodad, where did you go? I need this. And this. And this. But there was a little piece that looked like a nice little... Oh, there we go. This metal handle type thing. This is going to slide in here with this lovely canvas webbing. And that's going to slide in there. That's the top. So I'm going to flip that around. I want this piece up, I think. So rather than have... Oh, let's... There we go. Rather than have this seam up, let's have this nicer closed seam up. And which is what it shows there. You don't really see the seam, but that's okay. We also need a button type thing. So we've got this. Okay, so it's going to be this button. Goes up in there. And there's a spring. This spring, I'm going to guess, the bigger spring. And then there is a large button holder, which I probably buried this. So this is going to go in there. Oh, come on. then this will retain that red button. So now we've got this lovely actuating push button. Nice little bit of engineering there, which could easily be replaced with an actual functional button. And that's part of this process. I'm gonna just some good old Canada Dry ginger ale. Diet, because I'm quite heavy enough, thank you very much. Button latch. Clicker dome. Oh, there's a clicker dome that should have gone inside there. Alright. So, let's just use this to pop that off. I might not get the clicker dome in there. I don't even know what the clicker dome looks like. You know what? It doesn't need to click. That button's, she's not going to click. That's alright. No clicker for that one. Okay, so we've got this piece. That goes in there. We've got this piece. So we've got... that goes up like that. No, like that. And then we've got a little ribbon cable. This ribbon cable goes in there, and then this ribbon cable comes from there, no, the other way, like that. And I need the other bar. It's the long bolt, which I knew that. And, ribbon cable, V cable. This piece is going to come under there, but have... Alright, so I think it's going to be easier. Attach these points, and then position this under there, in that spot. Then this piece over top of it. Oh. But only if that's going to stay in place. Oh, that's popped out again. Okay, so that's all staying. That's nice. This locks into there. This locks into that piece like that. There we go. Now everything is seated. So I can get my same itty bitty little screws. Where's my screwdriver? Assemble that. There we go. Let's grab another one and put it in the corner. It's not likely going to come apart now, but oh wow. I've been led to believe by having watched a couple other people assemble these who grew up in the 50s is that this is how screws came back in the day. You didn't get a box of screws, you got a sheet like this. I have no idea if that's true, or I suppose I could have looked it up, but I don't trust what I see on the internet. Wow. A little blown out there. Where is that light coming from? There we go. Again, lighting is one of the things that I'm learning about, and how much light you need and how much light you can get away with not having. So like, I don't know if I need the overhead light or if I'd be fine with just the light that I've got on the camera, which is a relatively skookum unit itself. Honestly, for my Twitch streams, that's pretty much all I use is that light. And then I've got the lights that are over here right now, usually set to some purple or blue or green theme, just to add some color to this side of my face. Not that I need it. What do I talk about? I'm about as pale as they come. Alright. Got that piece assembled, minus the clicker for the button. A little disappointing. I will be more mindful of that for the next one. Alright, so next we are taking these pieces. So this can go off to the side again for a second. And I need this and this and this doodad. See, this is a perfect spot where, looking at this again, I would come in here and throw some little orange or yellow LEDs. I've got some actually, but I'm going to finish assembling this one first, and maybe, like I said, take it apart and give it another go. So this slides in there. Is there nothing that holds these in place? No, they're just... Alright, so this slides in there. It's a little... There we go. It's like a little... That's not quite... Okay, so it doesn't slide. I feel like it should slide. So there's this notch in there, right? Take those off and see if we can get... Okay. There we go. It's very tight. Yeah, it would be easy enough to drill some holes in there and throw some small LEDs, I think. Anyway, but this goes in behind. This goes on top. Vacuum grill. There we go. I see. Some tabs. Very fine tolerance there on the bottom. Get that worked into that spot. And over, come on. All right. So that's 46 and 47. Get those pieces assembled. Which out of 130 steps means we're a third of the way through. So 46, 47, 48. This piece and this piece. So we've got item data stat. This goes that way. This goes that way. And these are the last two. These screws. Then we're onto this flatheads. Oh, that's right. And I really do like the idea of putting this again. Again, I think this is a phenomenal kit. And not a bad price point. I think when it first came, I think it's $130, $129.99 at EB Games right now. Assuming you can get to an EB Games that has one. And I mean, let's face it, Bethesda's not done making Fallout games. So there will be another Fallout game. Alright, so we've got that attached. Oh, and then this is going to go right there. And they may do another PIP Boy. I mean, I would love it if they did this sort of kit, but with electronics. So they did a functioning kind of screen mirroring app one that for Fallout 4 that I deeply regret not spending the $400 on. At the time, it's much more now if you can find one. Alright, so next is some flat bolts. Okay, so Should be some itty bitty nuts, which I've seen them around. There's that one that was stuck in the thing. There we go. There's one of them. Be another one coming up, I'm sure. But yeah, I think it would be great if Bethesda, in conjunction with the company that did this, which I can't remember, is Wand Tech or something. I don't even know. I think they more or less branded everything 100% for in-universe. So there isn't necessarily it's something Wand Company. They took care of all of the bits for Fallout 76 release, all of the sweet stuff. So I mean, I've got my plasma pistol, which if you've watched any of the live streams, you've seen me turn on and forget to turn off, so the batteries in it are pretty bloody dead at the moment. There's also the plasma rifle, the power fist, and one other plasma rifle, plasma pistol. Was that it? No. Power fist. Oh, the super sledge. That's what it was. So yeah, so they did the super sledge as well. All iconic Fallout weapons. And some statuettes, which I think are quite lovely as well. You know what? I dropped a piece on the ground earlier. I don't think it took a little. I mean, it might have. Looking for an itty bitty, teeny weeny nut in this giant mess that I've made on my desk because I was not anywhere near careful enough at the outset of this project. Go figure. The reality is that it can live without it. It's not a critical piece. It's decorative. If I find it, when I find it, which will be probably immediately after I turn the stream off, it'll show up, and I can always pull this screw out and replace it. There's the little clicker thing. Maybe something else is going to get a clicker that didn't have one. But yeah. Oopsie. But yeah. Making cool things. Sharing my weird ideas with the world is why I do this. I mean, honestly, I've been doing it for 2 months. It's not like I've been doing it all that long. 3 months. 3 months now? Since mid-January. I got sick right at the end of December. This is why it didn't get started sooner. I had 4 days set aside specifically always sneeze coffee into your elbow. I had 4 days set aside, shoot videos, learn a bunch of the ropes, and yeah, I got sick. Spent most of that time doing sweet nothing. Alright, so those go in, that goes there, that goes there. Now on to step 54, which is these along with these. So 2, 3 buttons with 1, 2, 3 catches, 1, 2, 3 collars. So, and the itty bitty springs. So what happens is spring goes in here and a button goes on the spring. I feel like this is the wrong spring though. Let's see if there are some smaller springs. There we go. It's these springs. Slightly smaller springs. It goes in there. All right. So that part's going to go up in there. And this is going to come down. So let's start with the stat button. I'm going to assume if you're watching this, you've played Fallout, so I don't need to explain what a PIP Boy is. Which may be incorrect. I highly recommend that if you enjoy what I talk about, or maybe not what I talk about, what I do on this channel, whether it's primarily the hobbying stuff. But if you enjoy those things, you will almost assuredly enjoy the Fallout series. But you know what? Let's try this another way. So this is going to go in there. This button goes in there. And this wow, this is finicky. This is where I almost feel it would be easier to put a real actuated button in there. If I had the right size. You know what? These things are in the way. Let's back them out a little bit. All right. These are great little positive force tweezers. These are less less helpful tweezers. See if this piece. Yes, because that's what you guys want. You guys want to watch me fight with this for the next 40 minutes. Almost made it. Stupid spring-loaded piece went shooting across the room. I'm gonna have to go locate it. Let's try one of the other ones. I wonder if that helps. It's probably a slightly easier way to do it. Okay. But then you go in there, go into your home. You're gonna fall out now. Mostly because I'm gonna make you. You know. Okay. Got that in there. Got it rotated. It'd be better if this spring actually fit into the button, but it does not. Come on. Maybe I should be drinking something stronger than ginger ale. All right. Button is in. I have to go looking for that other piece at some point here. And I do not, unfortunately, have a Be Right Back screen, so you'll just have to suffer with looking at my empty chair and the dirty workspace I've got here. There we go. I mean, it's a nice actuated button once you get it in there. But damn. Alright. 2 more. Sorry for making you sit through this portion. I had no idea what to expect. Because while I had opened it, I had not until just at the start of the stream opened the instructions. So I did not know what to expect, what to anticipate when it came to this. I honestly assumed a lot of these buttons would be pseudo functional. All right, I'm gonna do a quick piece search and rescue session to find the missing pieces. It flew all over the place. Slight chances it made it past all of the stuff at the back here and wound up on the floor, which I think is looking fairly likely. Excuse me for a moment. Excellent. Now that that adventure is done, get on with once you kind of figure out the first one, the second one's not as bad. All right. Okay. Okay, so we need this. We need this. There we go. Little spongy. Wouldn't call it keyboard ready, but that's okay. It's not intended to be a keyboard. Okay. It's got those buttons done. So the next step is to take this and apply appropriate rad levels. It's the Geiger counter. So let's go with the low rads. Lower rads. Let's get my there's another housing that goes on top of that as well. We've got this and this housing. So that goes in there, and it's going to get those two screws. One of the things I've given some thought to with this is once this is done, I need a stand for it. And once again, there is an aftermarket stand that's available for purchase. But it looks like something would come out of the Institute. I'm thinking it would be much more fun to build a cobbled together scraps of the apocalypse post-apocalyptic world style piece for it. So this is going to go somehow goes in here. There we go. And then this is going to go on there. Didn't like something there. There we go. And now it gets the wires. So we've got these red, blue, and green wires. Of course, RGB. And some little wire attachment pieces. So it's green at the bottom. So that's going to go in. The intention that's just going to hold it in place. Let's find out. So we grab one of the screws, put it through the cable lug. Get it started and see if I need to try to crimp these. I don't necessarily have the appropriate tool for crimping yet. No. Yeah, I think that'll actually. Yep, that'll work just fine. So red. Next. Red. I was watching Blacklist at dinner, and the character Raymond Reddington is so interesting. And let's be clear here, brought to life by now I can't think of the actor's name, which is ridiculous. Chat, help me out here. Blacklist actor. James Spader. There we go. Such a good job. And the story is wire fell out because I had not gotten it tight fast enough. Story is quite winding, and I mean, it might get tedious at times to try to figure out all of the lies and all of the deceptions. But after 6 seasons, I'm not there yet. In the same way that after 15 seasons, I'm not tired of the Winchesters. But I don't disagree with the idea of going out on top. There we go. There we go. Green, red, and finally the blue wire. Cut the blue wire. Speaking of James Spader related trivia, and only in the most cursory ways, Stargate SG-1, later season, defusing a bomb, cut the yellow wire, they're all yellow, at which point Jack O'Neill, famously, well, famous to me at any rate, goes on to say, "I would just like to go on record that this is a very poorly designed bomb." This is not a poorly designed Geiger counter replica. Build a real Geiger counter. I don't think you can get one this small. Maybe you can. I don't have anything particularly radioactive to test against anyway, so I would hopefully just have to take the word for it, whoever sent it to me. There we go. Geiger counter. That is some finicky arsework. Okay. So, what is next? There's these pieces. We've got the buttons. What? That's the cuff end. All right. Clearly we've got these knobs and some clicky bits that are supposed to go somewhere. Here we go. That piece is separate. Tuning cable. That would be this, I assume. So we take a radio tuning knob. this radio switch. Radio pointer. I see. So we need our radio scale. All right, and then this is in there like that, right? There we go. So that goes in there like that. Then this, oh, there's some, this pulley. Doodads gonna go on there. Button. Capper. Okay, and then we've got these axles over here. The axle cap. That fell out. I have to find the other axle for a second. All right. Axle. Axle in. Axle in. Cap. Oh no, pulley first. Tuning pulley. Good thing I am paying close attention to these instructions. Right. Alright, now the axle cap. There we go. And the other axle cap. And then the tuning dial goes back in. Having fallen out. So how is this supposed to go? There we go. It's not perfect, but it tunes. All right. And this. I'm sure that would have helped hold that in place. Cool. Okay. So we are now step 75. Step 76. Okay, so this is now getting attached here. All right. So these two wires sneak into there. So let's start with that. So red and the blue wire are both gonna This is where I think some of their instructions are not ideal, because I really think it's better for this to be a bit looser for me to address. That. This. Where are my tweezers? Pull this out. There we go. I have too fat of fingers for this. Come on. You can do it. I mean, I've got to be mindful of the fact that these wires are also not exactly crimped in here, so. That one goes there. That one goes there. Okay. Okay, that fell right off. But you know what? That's okay. Because now that gives me the opportunity to feed these wires better. And that little other wire catch moved. Why they're not just molded in, I don't know. I'm sure there was a reason. I don't have to understand what it was. Similarly, I wonder if the backing had been not on. These 5 even those pliers. I had needle nose pliers here. I've got regular pliers. But yeah. Ooh. I miss massage therapy. That's what I miss right now. But yes. Some of these pieces I like what they did. Ouch. There we go. That doesn't mean that I don't think they could have done better. Let's put this out. These need to go in more. Which means this needs to come out again. Or maybe that's all that's going to go in. Maybe they're only going to go in so far, and then kind of like their clamp at the top just be held in place by the simple fact that that's going to get a screw at some point. Alright, that's some for those. So I've got that is there, and we have got this. Slides in. Like that. And then this. That green wire. This gets the green wire, and that's going to slide in between the two and hold them in place. I see what that's doing then. Come on. There we go. Don't know what was the problem. It seems to have resolved itself then. All right. So now we take oh, that's in the wrong hole. That's the screw hole. This is the hole that the green wire goes in. There we go. I don't think that was the problem, but it definitely wasn't going to help things. And now one screw, oh, and once on the small piece. Screwdriver. This is why I love having some demi-precision tools around. I would never call that pair of tweezers precision, but it is hemi-demi pseudo-precision. Now there should be a short bolt. Did I lose a bolt? I don't think I lost a bolt. There were definitely 3 bolts at the beginning of this. There it is. This one goes in there. World of Tanks is telling me there's something going on. Good for World of Tanks. That's that. So that piece is going to go there. But first I need to put the radio scale right there. Very tiny writing. I don't think you can see it on stream, but it is there, and I have it in the right orientation. And now, alright, so it was 85, 86. Where's 86? There's 87, which is this in there. 88 puts this in there. I'm missing 86. Oh, there's 86. 86 is this piece. So that's going to go in there, and I put that last of the screws in there. Where are we at? 9:42. I don't know that I'm going to get this done tonight, folks. As I said, 8:30 tomorrow morning. This desk becomes my workspace again. All right. 88, 89, 90. This is not a very good wrench. Or maybe it's very good. I don't know. I don't know why this is a slight gap there. I want to fix that. If you're watching this after the fact, and since I'm not going to get this done tonight, let me know in the comments if you want me to stream the remainder of this, which probably is let's call it an hour. Or if you just want me to post up when it's done, throw some pics up on Instagram or whatnot. Is it just, no, there's just no, it's nothing. It's just not going to be flush, which is kind of unfortunate. I really wish that they put another screw up here, because I am not inclined to glue it in case they do decide to take it apart. So gluing that would just ruin that ability. And if I decide to replace the radio with a real radio at some point, that would be extremely unfortunate too. And this is, I feel, just coming out. I am going to grab my pliers for that. So I feel that this needs to be threaded in place. Now I can just throw this on. course, that bungs up the threads a little bit. Tight enough. You know what? We'll get this done. I'm going to finish this. Damn it. All right. So that's 90. 91 is the speaker grill. It's there. And 92 is this. Screws. Caught it. That fixed that gap. Perfect. Okay. This is going to be awesome when it's done. Even without any weathering or functioning electronics. It is lovely. Absolutely. Even at a minimum, turning those two lights into functioning LEDs would be of almost no consequence. Probably change the assembly order in some ways as a result of that, but okay. That's attached. 94 is this piece. So how exactly is that going here? Okay. Like that. I see, and it's going to get this hazard stripe. one of the interesting things, I actually would almost rather paint these sorts of details on than use a decal or decal, if you're a decal versus decal individual. Because I'd find it easier to mask it off and apply some paint. That's got some nice tactileness to it. Alright, so this goes in there. That goes over that. What the heck? This goes on. That goes in place there, and the button locks it down. So it looks like while some of the screws that they used to hold things in place were not the screws you needed at that time, i.e. in the tape that I damaged at step 1. Some of them clearly are the screws you need. Should be one more round head screw. He says that he puts 2 more that are purely decorative on the top. There should be another nut around here as well. Where's the other nut? All right. There's the main assembly. It is 5 to 10. You know what? It's 5 to 10. I'm going to call it there for tonight. So that is the first part of my Fallout. I'm sure there's a way to open that won't break it, so I should figure that out later. The first part of my Fallout Pip Boy build. The second half probably next week, unless I get a bunch of people in the comments saying that they want to have this finished up just in a video and thrown up there. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This was enjoyable. I'll do more hobbying this way, so especially while we are currently doing the physical distancing, it's an opportunity for us to hobby together. But until next time, and as always, work your wonk, wash your hands, and keep it geeky.